All right, today we're digging into the absolutely spectacular collapse of Saks Global. This was a luxury retail giant that promised to take over the world, but instead it just imploded. It felt like it happened overnight. So, how did it all go so spectacularly wrong? Let's get into it. So, picture this. It's September 2025. The CEO of the brand new Saks Global, Mark Metrick, is on top of the world. He's totally convinced that with Amazon's tech and all that data, they finally cracked the code. They know exactly what the luxury shopper wants. Famous last words, right? Turns out he couldn't have been more wrong.
And then this happened. Not even a year later, Saks Global is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and they are buried under almost $5 billion in debt. A complete, total, mind-blowing catastrophe.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How does a company that boasts about having the best luxury customer data on the planet get it so wrong? What happened here? Now, you could point to bad real estate deals or messy private equity stuff, but the real reason this all fell apart is actually much simpler. To borrow from a famous political line, it was the customers. This wasn't just a financial blunder. It was a fundamental, almost shocking misunderstanding of what luxury even is. To really get this story, you first have to understand Amazon's obsession with high fashion. And I mean, this was not just some passing interest. We're talking about a 2-decade-long mission to break into a world that, frankly, wanted nothing to do with them. I mean, just look at this timeline. It goes all the way back to 2008. They hired top execs from the fashion world. They sponsored the Met Gala, the most exclusive party there is. They built these enormous photo studios. They launched luxury platforms over and over again. They threw millions and millions of dollars and almost 20 years at this problem, trying to force their way in. But here's the thing. After all that time, all that money, all that effort, the real luxury brands just kept saying no. Why? Well, it came down to a very simple, almost playground-level problem. Amazon had cooties. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. You've got these two worlds that are just complete opposites. Amazon's entire universe is built on speed, data, and making things easy. Luxury, it's all about the story, the exclusivity, the experience. Amazon's algorithm is designed to find you a substitute. Luxury is all about the integrity of one specific brand. The two just don't mix. You know, Tom Ott, who used to be a chief merchant at Saks, just nails it with this quote: "Context is everything." These brands spend fortunes building an image, and the last thing they want is their $5,000 dress sharing a digital shopping cart with a roll of tape. And he doesn't stop there. He just boils down the entire attitude of the high fashion world into this one perfect, brutal word. For those top-tier European brands, selling on Amazon wasn't just a bad idea, it was contamination. It was like getting cooties. And yeah, this image really says it all, doesn't it? When you think of Amazon, you think of this, a brown cardboard box. It's built for efficiency, not elegance. The whole vibe, the whole experience just screams convenience, not couture. The source material gave this analogy, and it's absolutely perfect. Imagine an Hermes store. It's like a quiet, pristine temple to luxury. Now imagine plopping that right in the middle of a chaotic, crowded market. It just doesn't work. It ruins the value of both. And that's exactly how these brands saw Amazon. So after almost 20 years of getting shut out, Amazon pivoted to a new strategy. Okay, if we can't build the credibility ourselves and we can't convince the cool kids to let us in, we'll just buy our way in. Time for a massive billion-dollar shortcut. So here's the game plan. In 2024, Saks Global is born with the goal of buying its biggest rival, Neiman Marcus. Amazon comes in like a white knight, putting up almost $500 million to make the deal happen. And what do they get in return? The keys to the kingdom. A real Saks storefront on Amazon.com, and crucially, access to all of Saks's relationships with those exclusive brands. See, in the fashion world, you can be the richest person on the block, but you're still an outsider until an insider, what they call a queen bee, vouched for you. And that was Amazon's whole strategy here. Saks Global was supposed to be their queen bee, the one who would finally let them sit at the cool kids table. But that shortcut, it turned out to be a trap. Instead of a victory, Amazon got dragged into a partnership that was just imploding, sparking this absolutely brutal legal war. First things first, Amazon's money. That massive $475 million investment? Well, according to Amazon's own legal filings, it is now considered presumptively worthless. Gone. A total write-off.
And then it gets even worse. Saks, the very company Amazon propped up, turns on them. In bankruptcy court, they're now fighting tooth and nail to get out of the deal, to cancel the whole agreement.
And now, oh man, the fight is on. Amazon says the gloves are off, and they're threatening drastic remedies. They're accusing Saks of misconduct, of destroying the value of the company. The queen bee and the outsider are officially at war.
You know, one of the bankruptcy lawyers on the case, Sid Sheinberg, pointed out the incredible irony here. For years, Amazon was the disruptor that took a sledgehammer to traditional retail. And then, the one time they try to actually join the very system they broke, they get completely burned. So, what's the big lesson here? What's the moral of this billion-dollar bonfire? It's all about understanding what luxury actually costs. And spoiler alert, it's not something you can just put on a spreadsheet. This whole thing really boils down to a fight between the spreadsheet and the soul. Amazon truly believed that data could engineer desire. They thought luxury was just another category you could optimize for speed and scale. But they totally missed the point. The real gatekeepers here were never the executives they were trying to schmooze. It was the customers. And those customers know that real luxury is something you feel, not something you just add to your cart. And that leaves us with this one final, really fascinating question. In a world that is more and more driven by data and algorithms, a failure this big, this expensive, forces us to ask, can a machine, can an algorithm ever really, truly understand human desire?